Well, hey, you guys. So today I'm going to talk about a common theme that I keep seeing in the marketplace, and that is called dynamic pricing, which sounds very official and trustworthy at first, right? But also, I'm starting to wonder if it's a fair strategy. So today I want to explain what it is, talk through how it's showing up in our spending, and walk through some solutions for how to deal with it on a practical level. And I would love to know your hot takes on all of this, so be sure to stick around and then drop them in the comments so we can continue this conversation, because I just find it so interesting. Now, the first, point is, what is dynamic pricing? So, according to Oxford, it means varying the price of a product or service to reflect changing market conditions. So, the most common example of increasing the price of something during times of higher demand, that's supply and demand, is kind of what you learn in Econ 101. Now, you may have also heard this as a surge when it comes to pricing, or demand pricing. So those are also some terms being thrown around. But recently I saw an article about Wendy's customers pushing back on their decision to raise food prices during popular meal times. And if you listen to Smart Money Happy Hour, you know that Wendy's has a very special place in my heart. The spicy chicken sandwich is one of a kind. I love it. Now, customers were outraged that their burger started costing $1 or $2 more at one time of the day versus another. Now, I'm sure some people are thinking, well, if people are that worked up about a $6.99 menu item costing $1 more, then maybe they've got bigger things to worry about. Listen, I hear that. That makes sense. But also, you're like, Wendy's, it's not fair if I come at 6 o'clock. Should that be different than when I come at 3 o'clock? It's the exact same food, right? So listen, I get it. I mean, we can all sometimes feel unfair that there are some things that big corporations take advantage of when it comes to people and when we go shopping and all of that. But the truth also is that when you're in a fast food drive-thru, you clearly need a quick and affordable meal. And when that's openly used against you, it can kind of feel like a cheap shot. And apparently, after hearing this feedback from customers, Wendy's retracted their new policy to raise prices during busy times and offer discounts during slower times. Listen, we love when businesses listen to their customers, right? I mean, it's great. But unfortunately, this isn't the only example of dynamic pricing that we're seeing these days. So now let's look at some other ways that it's showing up. And to make it a little bit of a game, after I reveal each example, I'll kind of give a yay or nay based on what I think. So you can play along. Let me know in the comments. All right, first up is something that I notice all the time, especially in Nashville, and I'm sure other cities too, but it's just the wedding tax. So as Pinterest and social media become more and more popular over the last decade, having a picture-perfect wedding has turned into a much bigger deal than it was 15 years ago when Winston and I got married. So again, I mean, golly, our wedding, y'all. I mean, there's some things you look back on, you're like, I would do that again. I'd probably still have my dress. I still think my dress was pretty. But I made my bridesmaids wear a champagne color, and it was just so unfortunate for everyone involved in a December wedding. So I apologize wholeheartedly to them. But it was like this gold red vibe that was very, very much going on in 2008. And yeah, unfortunately, my wedding got caught up in that. So there are some trends we wish didn't happen, but they did. Now, listen, the wedding industry, though, they are smart. They know that everyone wants a Insta-worthy wedding and bachelorette party and shower and all the things with balloon arches and all. And so what happens, though, is that just putting the word wedding in front of something, people can kind of start taking advantage of. So venue, flowers, catering, music, photographers, hair, makeup, drinks, you name it. If you got wedding in front of it, it's going to be more. And people started calling this the wedding tax because the cost of services are marked up significantly because it's for a wedding. Now, on one hand, I understand there is going to be an upcharge to compensate, on things like travel time and gas money and all of it, absolutely. Or say your hairstylist usually works Mondays to Fridays, but your wedding is on a Saturday, so they're going to give up part of their weekend. So yeah, they're probably going to charge more for that. Again, supply and demand, totally understand. But also some venues will raise or lower their prices on certain days because they know they're going to make more, obviously on weekends. Or even, cakes. If you say it's a wedding cake, they have shown that it is significantly more expensive because of that. So again, you're going to get these price spikes depending on if it's a wedding or not. So I'm going to say nay because I have heard so many people planning a wedding and using vendors that are not wedding vendors, but they're just going roundabout ways to get flowers or to get a cake and all that. And it's not very expensive. But suddenly when you go into the wedding part of everything, it's more expensive. All right, the second example that I see that we all know all too well are concert tickets. And we were all crushed last year at T Swift's ticket prices. I mean, there was so much money. But listen, it's Ticketmaster who we should have beef with. I mean, monopolies never play fair because they know they can jack up prices. And, it is what it is. And you're like, oh my gosh. And then third parties are selling for higher and all of it. So I'm going to give this a nay because in Europe, and I don't have all the statistics, but from what I've heard, it was significantly cheaper because they were not allowing all of this crazy pricing to happen within third parties or within the main ticketing system. And so people were able to go to a concert even though they're not paying thousands of dollars, which is great. You want everyone to have an experience and not feel like you have to spend like crazy amounts of money for that. So I'm going to give this one a nay. All right, the third example is ride-sharing apps like Uber or Lyft, and they do jack up prices depending on certain locations and certain times of the day. So, for example, if there's a massive sporting event, the cost of the ride is going to be more when it ends. Or have you ever noticed how expensive rides are to and from the airport specifically? So listen, they know that you are desperate for them, so you are going to pay them. Okay, I am going to give this one, I'm going to give it like a yay medium because I do think if I am a driver and I'm going to have to go to downtown Nashville, let's give Taylor Swift's example, right? To a Swiftie concert where tens of thousands of people are coming out of this concert. It's going to be chaotic. It is. Like your level of stress is going to be higher to be like, okay, I got to find the person, the rider, all of this. You're sitting in way more traffic. It's chaos and crazy. And because of that, that's going to take more energy from you as the driver. So I could see it, you're having to work more because of that. So that's one reason I would say I get it. It's annoying, if you're the person using the app, you're like, dang it, why was it so expensive to get home? But I do think the more inconvenient a situation is for someone, the more they can charge for it. And I think I'm okay with that. I get that. All right, the next example may or may not have to do with your smartphones betraying us, which is exactly why I first want to tell you about one of our sponsors, Delete Me. So you guys, scammers are everywhere these days. And I'll admit, I'm the first one to admit that I have fallen for a couple of these scams, and I'm not proud of it. Not proud of it at all. But listen, if you have fallen for them too, there is no shame. But that is one reason that I do love companies coming in and helping protect my information out on the internet. That is why I recommend Delete Me. So Delete Me gives me so much peace of mind. It finds and removes your personal info, like your home address, phone number, and more from hundreds of data broker websites, helping protect you from spammers, scammers, and online thieves, and potentially saving you a lot of time and money. So you guys, you have to check it out. Go to joindeleteme.com/Rachel for 20% off. That's joindeleteme.com/Rachel. All right, the fourth example is still a little bit of a mystery that I can't quite figure out if it's legit because I've seen evidence on both ends of this, but it's the idea that the algorithm of the internet is now working against us. So obviously, we've all noticed an increase in social media marketing. We mention a product once on our walk with a friend, and suddenly on Instagram, like there's an ad for that thing. Or I even will do just the add to cart trick where I'll go shopping on a website and I'll just add stuff to the cart that I think is cute, but I won't buy it. It just kind of feels like I'm shopping. Well, now what people are saying is that these websites actually know your data and they actually jack up prices knowing that you are interested in an item, which is just wild. So again, these websites are adjusting prices for the items that you're interested in. And I've seen people on the internet claim that they, will check a flight price on the same website 3 times in 1 week, and it's different every single time. And sometimes if you're looking for the same flight, it actually ends up going up and up and up, and it doesn't give you a lower price because they know that you're looking at it. So again, I don't know if this is just coincidence or if this is a bargaining tactic or if this is the internet doing what the internet does with all the algorithms, but it is happening. So, I mean, I'm gonna have to go nay on this one too. I'm like, man, just because I want it, you're not gonna give me the sale price or give me a lower price. I mean, that's not fun. That's not fun at all. But listen, no matter what you think about the marketing strategy that's out there, the good news is that in the end, you still get to call the shots when it comes to your money. And so having the control and the plan on knowing what you're going to buy, when you're going to buy it, it really does give you some power over what's going on out in the world, right? So if you have the money budgeted, you know what's going on, you can feel peace about making those purchases, regardless of the marketing strategy and the surging prices and all of it that is going on. Now, if you're feeling the pain of constant marketing tactics, or even just regular price increases on a daily basis on daily necessities, the best thing you can do is to have a budget. My favorite app is EveryDollar. This is the budgeting app that I use, that Winston uses, and it is fantastic. So you can go to everydollar.com/Rachel to get started today for free. And literally, it'll take you a few minutes to set up your first budget, and it is amazing. And if you haven't checked out my episode on 9 sneaky signs that you own too much stuff, make sure to do that. All right, you guys, remember to take control of your money and create a life you love.